My name is still Guzalia Davis, and I welcome you to the Smoke Out series. And I have a special guest all the way from Washington State, from Seattle, Jim Kellner. This is a hypnotist, comedian, author, life coach. Please welcome, Jim. So nice to have you back here.
Thanks, Guzalia. It's nice talking to you again.
Things have changed due to COVID and quarantine. And as we know, smoking makes people more vulnerable.
Definitely.
So we are in demand like never before, right?
So true. Yeah, I've been way busier than ever. Yeah.
People are more determined now to achieve that goal of becoming a non-smoker. Although we did make some adjustments, and I know you see your clients via Zoom, right?
I've been seeing clients through Zoom for about 5 years now, so this was no big deal to me to transition. Yeah.
Nice. Although I'm available to work online, some people still prefer and insist to come into the office. And now, because of the quarantine, all of a sudden, nobody had to all visit. Yeah, I can do Zoom. I can do it. So tell me your opinion about effectiveness working in person and via Zoom.
You know, the hardest part about doing online hypnosis is just informing people that they can be hypnotized online. Some people are shocked. They're like, "You're gonna hypnotize me online? What do you mean?" I mean, as you know, it's a talk-based modality, so of course we can do it. I've even done it over the phone, no video or anything. It works the same either way. One of the things that's kind of funny, I love this. I had this woman in her 70s, and she calls me up. She wanted to get a session. She said, "Well, you know, I was in Phoenix at the time." She said, "Well, I just have to check on flights and I'll fly." And I was like, "Oh, no, you missed something. I do online." And she was like, "Well, how are you going to hypnotize me online?" And I kept this, and she keeps going back and forth. She goes, "But I've watched all of your videos." I go, "Okay." She goes, "I've watched all of your videos on YouTube." And I said, "Okay." And she goes, "But you have to shake my hand and tell me sleep." And so, you know, if you're watching YouTube videos, you're probably going to see the stage hypnosis or the street hypnosis where we will, you know, shake my hand and go sleep, or tap me on the head and say sleep.
Shocking instant induction. We don't usually use it during therapeutic sessions because people already sometimes come in pain and in distress. The last thing you want to do is to shock them into hypnosis.
So and then I realized, you know, I had to start informing people, hey, if you're watching these videos, just know that there's different ways to get you into hypnosis. And this is just one of the ways. And a lot of it, as you know, it's for dramatic effect, right? It looks cool, right?
Yeah, and also it's perfect for stage hypnosis because then you have this shocking effect and you put the person quickly into the trance. We don't want that in the office. Inductions we use in the office usually gradual, something that you can use at home on your own. And I even say, okay, we'll start with progressive relaxation, but this is something you can use to help you relax or fall asleep. So follow me through every step and memorize that practice because it's very pleasant and very useful. And if somebody's, you know, shaking you by the hand or slapping you or screaming into your ear, it's not very useful, not practical in therapy.
And, you know, and it's, I got to tell you, there is nothing like it though. You know, you're on stage in front of 300 people and you do the handshake induction and the person just kind of collapses like this in their chair and the audience goes, "Whoa!"
Yes, very impressive, very dramatic.
But, you know, there's no audience when you do hypnotherapy, so we don't need the dramatic effect.
There's still some difference between working in person in the office and via Zoom. You know, you have that screen.
Absolutely.
How would you tell the client to prepare for it?
Well, so a few things. You want to have like a nice quiet place. And sometimes that's tough for people. In fact, I've referred people out if they can't find a quiet place where they can kind of get away from everybody. Normally they can figure out something. In fact, I've even had clients that drove their car to a nearby park and sat in their car while we did the session, just because they got some kids at home, they've got a spouse and all this stuff. Oh, and then also I remember there was one client who didn't want his wife to know he was getting hypnosis for some other stuff. Things like that, headphones are going to make it ideal. If you're at home with other people, telling them to not bother you for the next couple of hours. I had one client who his wife kept checking in on him and kept disrupting, and like, nope, just stay out for a little while. I'll come out when I'm done. Also animals. Some people,
yes,
you got to put the dog and cat outside the room, and some of them you have to have them in the room, because when they're outside the room, they freak out.
They will bark,
Right. So then you got to have them in the room, and it can be, that part can be a challenge. I just worked with a woman yesterday for Stop Smoking, and she actually went to her friend's house because she couldn't get quiet at her own house. Good stable internet connection or phone connection. That's about it.
With other people in the house, it's not even that crucial that you do not hear them at all. I would just really worry about startling. You're very relaxed, very calm. Your mind slows down, and all of a sudden somebody rushes into the room and starts screaming. It's not going to feel good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the obvious things, the phone has to go silent.
Right.
And if you choose to do it in a car, you're not driving.
Not driving. No, not driving. Yeah. Good point. Yeah, not driving.
Here's a tricky question for you, Jim.
Yeah.
Do you like working with smokers?
I do not. I don't take on addiction people, drug addiction stuff. I refer them out. And so that would be my least favorite to work with for a lot of the challenges that come with that. And that's why I don't do it anymore. I would say smokers are probably one of my least favorite groups. And it's nothing, I love you guys. I smoked myself for 20 years. And so I get it. But especially when I was in an office and they come in and they just reek like smoke, because of course they smoked 3 cigarettes on their way to the office because they're never going to smoke again. So they got to get it all in. But the thing with smokers generally, not always, but I find them to be the biggest crybabies because, the thing is, and again, people, I was a smoker, I get it. But, one of the things that, what if I get a craving? What if I get a craving? Well, we're going to give you some tools to work through that. You may get cravings. Some people never do. As you know, some people, we never know how they're going to react. That some people, I've got a woman that I worked with, she can walk into a mini mart, doesn't even see cigarettes anymore. It's the weirdest thing. She won't even, somebody smoking next to her, doesn't even notice them. Some people are going to get cravings, but we get cravings all the time for different things. If I'm trying to not eat sugar, I might see some cake and I go, oh, maybe I want a piece of cake. But I go, no, I'm not going to have it.
Because you're an adult and responsible being, right?
Right, exactly. And like I tell my clients, are you married? Okay, you're married. So have you ever seen an attractive person? Did you want to go and make out with them? Okay, but you didn't because, again, you're a grown adult and you're able to go, I had a craving there, had some lust, but I said, no, I'm not going to do that because I have something else that I value more than that.
Yes. Assuming responsibility probably is the biggest step you have to take here. And I did notice that with people that smoke, that might be an issue. I sound very mean today. Jim.
What's that?
I sound very mean. People hate us.
Exactly. Sign up with us. We don't like you.
Well, we have to be truthful. We have to address the real things. Otherwise, we cannot help, really.
Yeah. It's true. And I'm not going to just, and it's not, I don't dislike smokers as a person. It's just as a group, just because of some of the things that I see. And it's not that it's just that they're not my favorite people to work with. And I actually hadn't been even advertising it for the longest time because I didn't want to do it. You get tired of hearing the whiny stories. Oh, well, I had a craving. I got in a fight with my spouse and I had to smoke. Like, well, look, I had a fight with my spouse. I didn't have to smoke. I had something else to do, right? I was able to go for a walk or to communicate my feelings. And the thing is that and I know I was the same way, is they have this idea that they have to smoke when they get stressed out. Well, when I get stressed, I have to have a cigarette. But
what do the millions of people that don't smoke do with the stress? We would be all dead if the cigarette was the only way to fix that.
Exactly. And like I tell them, I go, look, I haven't smoked in 10 years. If I picked up a cigarette right now, I would not feel less stressed. It's a stimulant, right? It actually jacks you up. It doesn't calm.
I think the most of anxiety actually comes from that belief. I will need a cigarette now. I'll need the cigarette.
Exactly.
Do I have a time to go smoke? Will I have cigarette at that moment?
Right? Yeah.
Stress in life is a normal thing. It's a part of human experience.
It is.
Most of people have this notion of believing that we're here to experience pure bliss and happiness. No, this is earth. It's not heaven.
Right.
We're here to learn and to achieve things, acquire experience, and that would not be possible if we only had pleasant experiences. This is normal to experience stress. In fact, for our health, if you control that, if you manage it properly, stress is a good thing, because all the hormones produced by the body in response to something. What happens if you lie on the couch all the time and your body doesn't need to work hard? It stops producing certain hormones and your health starts to deteriorate. If you were going to work every day, you worked physically, or maybe you had to walk long distance, your body builds those muscles and produce enough hormones for you to accomplish that daily. If you stop doing it, you don't need it anymore. Your body starts to deteriorate. So we have to learn to appreciate the stress.
Absolutely. Maybe just something, if you're a smoker out there, and whether you decide to get hypnosis or not, is just to remind yourself that the cigarette is not helping you deal with stress. It's getting rid of a craving. It's helping to treat your addiction to nicotine, but it's not decreasing your stress. It's amplifying. I just thought of this, one of the silly things that smokers will tell themselves. I just thought of one of myself. I remember thinking, what will I do if I have to wait in line somewhere? Because this was my big thing. Like if I get early to a concert or something, I've got to smoke to pass the time. I realized years later, I go, wait, I'm waiting in a line and I don't have to smoke. I can just stand here like everybody else.
Yeah. So going back to this eternal question, what is smoking? Is this chemical addiction? Is it developed pattern of behavior, installed system of belief, a choice?
Wow.
What do you
You're
think?
asking me, I'd say all the above. So that's what I would say. But I think probably the physical part is the easiest part, although in the beginning it seems like the hardest, but because the addiction to that nicotine. But
chemical, but it leaves the body within hours.
Yeah.
Within hours. Once you stop smoking, your body gets rid of it very fast. I tell my clients that it's a choice. In fact, when they ask, do you guarantee? I say, no. How can you guarantee? You make a choice. If you smoked for 20 years, every day, how many times do you smoke a day? 5, 6, maybe 10 times. So every day for 20 years, you made that choice to light the cigarette and poison your body. How can I guarantee after 2 hours spent with you that you will not make that choice? I cannot make you to make the right choice. I can help you. I can support you with all the resources. If you make that right choice, I can support you, but I cannot possibly guarantee.
Yeah. And it's funny too. I don't know, do other professions have people asking about a guarantee? I've been to the doctor many times. The doctor's never guaranteed they're going to cure my whatever it is. They've never once. I've never even asked, but maybe I should ask next time. Hey, I've got the flu. Can you guarantee that you'll cure this? Mm-hmm. Well, you can't guarantee it. I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People sometimes perceive hypnotism as a magic, but even magician cannot, by the wave of magic, wand fix your entire life. Even in magic, you have to set intention, make the right choice, work out strategy, and work, through that plan to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
Same with hypnosis, will just make it easier.
Absolutely. That's such a great point. That should be the bulletin right there is we make it easier. I try to be honest, like some people, like that one client I told you about, like she just never even thinks about cigarettes, never even comes up, never gets a craving. That's not the same for everybody. I've been smoke free for about, what I say, no, it's actually been like 15 years, I think 15 years. Every once in a while I get a craving. Every once in a while I'll smell some smoke or something, but I have that choice. I go, no, I would never touch another cigarette ever. But yeah, the hypnosis, it just makes it easier. You know, some people, they're going to have to use a little bit more willpower. Some people, like, they don't need to try. It just depends.
And there is also the other side, talking about making it easier. There are so many different withdrawal symptoms.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It can be very unpleasant and challenging for people. Some I had to learn from my clients because I've never smoked. I would not even guess that insomnia can come because you just quit smoking. Even constipation, pardon the details.
Wow.
I've heard about that. And that actually makes sense to me because you stopped poison in your body and your body start cleansing itself. You know, you have many people experience it. Once they stop smoking, they have lots of mucus. They say it feels like cold or a flu symptoms. This is normal. Don't get scared. This mucus cleansing out all this tar, all these toxins, the metals you have accumulated through the years. This is a good thing. But because all the liquid used for that mucus to cleanse the body, constipation makes perfect sense. So you have to address that. Although I don't do that in hypnosis, but I can address insomnia, irritability, headaches, general body aches. I can address that. And even with constipation, I can put in suggestion, drink more water, eat healthier.
Right.
That's, you know, brings me to that concern lots of people have when they quit smoking. They believe that they will gain a lot of weight. What do you tell your clients about that?
You might. I mean, so here's the reality. The first thing I always tell clients is look, your body for the last 20, 30, 40 years has been fighting to stay alive. It takes a lot of energy for it to process that junk you've been putting in it. You know, every single day, 20 times a day, 15, 20 times, you're trying to kill yourself. Your body feels like it's you're attacking your body. It takes a lot of energy to keep you alive. So now you don't need to expend that energy. So you might gain some weight. It's always better to gain some weight than to keep smoking. But the other part of this is that, you know, like I don't remember if we talked about it on this call or we were talking about it before, but when you talk to us, when you work with us, we're not going to just say, stop smoking, you're done. We help you develop the tools to deal with the stress. We help you to come up with, you know, and this is what happens, you know, that people will gain weight and you go, well, you know, have your eating habits changed? Well, yeah, every time I want a cigarette, I reach for Tootsie Rolls or a cupcake or whatever. If that's your go-to, of course you're going to gain weight. I can't change that. But what I can do is I can say, instead of having that cigarette or Tootsie Roll or candy bar, could you do this? And that this could be, could you go for a walk? Could you listen to your hypnosis? You have a lot of things that you probably help clients come up with.
Why people start eating more? First of all, to replace the action of smoking, if you need that oral sensation or to have something in your hands, something to replace that habit. Yes, you will reach out for the food, but also naturally, once you quit smoking, your body will have a lot more cravings because body's rebuilding itself, replenishing all these cells. It's been purified now, rejuvenated, and body's trying to heal and rebuild itself. It's normal to want more food, but you're an adult person, make a reasonable choice and know that your body needs nourishment, so have maybe heavier than usually meals to meet that need of the body in nourishments. Instead of putting junk into the body, eat healthy and maybe heavier food, at least temporarily, once you meet that need of the body. Even if you put on a little weight, it will go away because now your body actually is healthier.
Yeah, that's a great point, is that your body, it might crave more food because you are trying to rebuild those cells. And I mean, your lungs, you've been trashing them for years. It's going to try to rebuild that. But if you make the healthier choice, then that's going to happen a lot quicker and you won't gain the weight. So I think that's a great.
By the way, the lungs are made of fat. And if they need to rebuild themselves and cleanse, it's only normal to want to eat something fatty. But it doesn't mean that you need to eat cakes or
French fries.
Nice, heavy broth, nice fatty steak, fatty fish.
Right.
It would do miracles, and then your lungs can rebuild themselves faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that I caught myself doing, and I had to stop myself, was telling myself, at least I'm not smoking. Right. So at least I'm not smoking. Wait a minute. So
you've tried to replace with food the smoking?
Yeah, I think I did. And I had to remind myself. I had to go, no, this is, I can get my rewards for my good behavior apparently in other ways.
Yes, that's where, the hypnosis can do real miracle. We can agree with the client before the session. What are they going to do instead now?
Exactly. That's what it is. It's not just that stopping smoking. It's
you have to
redirecting.
Replace it with something. You can't just rip out that big chunk of your life and not replace with anything.
Yeah.
You have to make a conscious choice, set intention. Now, every time I have a craving, I'll go have, a cup of tea, glass of water, or I'll get up and move for a minute, or I'll go splash my face with water. Whatever's possible, it doesn't have to be the same scenario. You plan little routines for the day and use the ones appropriate. At work might be one thing, in the car another, at home something else. When your spouse around can be something totally different. But you make it work. I mean, millions of people have made that work for them.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I know in the beginning it is a struggle, and you try to, okay, so instead of doing this, I'm going to do that and stuff. But it becomes just your normal everyday life. I remember a client one time, we did a check-in call a couple weeks later, and she goes, well, I'm not smoking, but I don't feel like a non-smoker. And I said, there is no feeling like a non-smoker. You just are a non-smoker.
Yes. Once you decide this is who you are now, once you made that choice, there is no badge or no test for it, really. Nobody will affirm it for you. It is your personal choice. Yeah. Although I remember in the first year of my hypnosis practice, I actually created a certificate. And
nice.
once person completed my smoking cessation program, I had a certificate, looked formal. And I also had a little ID card. I used the sheets for business cards, and I created ID card. I would put their name, successful non-smoker, certified by, and I'd put my name.
That's awesome.
I don't remember why I stopped doing this, but I remember first year I did that for every client. It was 3 minutes ceremony at the end of the smoking program.
So then they can feel like a non-smoker.
Yeah. Maybe I have to bring that practice back.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it made it official. Now you are certified non-smoker.
Right. I love it.
Well, Jim, I want to take you back to the Zoom, to the online sessions, because so many work is done through Zoom now. Tell me, why is it better than in person right now in this situation?
Well, to be honest with you, there is nothing like meeting a client at your office, shaking their hand for that first time, looking them in the eye and stuff. There's nothing like that. It's a great thing. I love that in-person kind of connection there. But what I found over the past 5 years of doing it, even it's funny because I teach, remote hypnosis at the hypnosis conferences. And I do some online trainings. So I've been telling people for years, go online. And then all of a sudden everybody wants to learn, now how do I do it? So everybody's ordering my course now. How do I do this? But I've discovered there are actually a lot of benefits for a client. When I first started, the only thing that I was thinking about was I wanted to be able to travel to do my shows and work with clients. And it was really pretty selfish. I wanted to be able to work with clients. But what I discovered was one time I was getting ready to leave town, and I had an anxiety client who had like a kind of an emergency type situation. It was, I need to see you right away. I was like, no problem. We'll get you on a Zoom call. If in the past, I would have been like, gosh, I can't see you right now. Have to refer you to somebody else. The availability is much greater when you're working with me online. The other thing that I discovered was I've got people from all over the world that I work with. I'm Australia, England, France, New York, whatever. So people get to choose the person that they want to work with. They're not limited by,
who's
I work
locally.
With people. Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with the local hypnotist, but if you watch my videos and stuff, or these different things, you may feel like you have a connection, and you want to work with me personally. Just like if you watch Guzalia and you see she's got a really warm heart and she's got a good sense of humor, so you go, I want to work with Guzalia. So you get that choice on who you get to work with. And I think for me, that's really one of the top reasons. Of course, it's going to cost you less because I don't have to pay for an office anymore.
Absolutely, yeah.
You don't have the traffic to deal with. So there's a lot of really good reasons to work online, and it's been a much easier transition. More people now are like, oh yeah, of course it's online because of the virus, and I'm like, well, I was doing it before that, but yeah.
It does remove so many limitations.
Yeah.
Very often clients would call and they only can see me on weekend, but I don't go to office on weekends because usually I have or my online courses, or I just have to be home with my family. Yeah. But if we do Zoom session, I can cut out an hour for you.
Sure.
And the same with the early morning or a late evening. I may not be able to be in the office. My hours very strict, 9 to 5, and I have to be out of there. And also, at least for me, there's a measured difference. When you come to my office, I'm on the clock. My clients are back to back. So
good point.
I'm on the clock, yes. Regardless of what time you showed up, it will end the way it planned, and I have no extra time for you. You are out, whether we're finished or not. You are out of the door because there is another person's waiting, and they're paid too.
Exactly, yeah.
So I can't take it away from them and give it to you.
Yeah.
But at home, I have more flexibility. I can schedule some extra time. And this is not very good too, but sometimes people would book an hour, and then there's so much stuff. You know how it is in hypnosis. All of a sudden, you open the gate of hell, and everything comes out, and you can't stop sometimes. You can't leave them in that distress. You just, poked, and all the bad stuff came out. You have to handle it. In that aspect, Zoom sessions are so much better. And another one, some people worry about being taken advantage by hypnosis.
Oh, sure. Right.
Yes. They've seen lots of movies.
Right, exactly.
And we're not always portrayed in a good light.
We're never portrayed in a good light.
What are you going to ask? Or what if you will touch me?
Right.
And here you're safe at home behind the screen.
Right.
I will not be touching you.
That's right. Exactly. That's a great point, because that's one of those myths out there that people are afraid. It's so funny too, because when I did my TEDx talk, I actually did the research. People are worried that the hypnotist is going to take advantage of them, where they're far more likely, like by 1,000% more likely to be taken advantage of by a police officer, a teacher, a counselor, a dentist. All these things that people don't think about.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned your TED Talk. I will have to put the link below, so whoever's watching it, the link will be below. We'll get that for you, because I've seen it. It was awesome. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a really fun experience.
I think it's important to educate people about hypnosis, because it's still covered by such a veil. Not everybody have a clear understanding what it is. Some people perceive it as something mysterious, magical, or dangerous.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people are either relieved or disappointed when they actually do it and go, oh, it's not, I didn't feel like a zombie.
When people book, this is one of the first things they'll say. It's nothing like you may have seen in the movies. This is the beginning of my pre-talk. It's nothing like you've seen in the movies. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, I finally came up with a sort of something similar. I think is like, just like we talked about street hypnosis and stage hypnosis. If there was a movie or a TV show that had a hypnotist in it, it would be so boring you wouldn't watch, right? I mean, because oh, somebody comes in, they sit down for a while, they close their eyes for half an hour, and they quit smoking, right? That's not exciting, right? I think it reminds me of like spy novels or detective shows. They're far more interesting than I think probably they are in reality, right? If you detective work is a lot of just sitting in a car and watching a house, right? That gets old. That's not very exciting.
Yeah, you have a point here. Can't argue with that. Yeah. I think I do very good job with pre-talk to setting right expectation before client even comes into the office. But even then, sometimes at the end, somebody will say, it's nothing like I expected. Nothing really happened. But you do talk a lot, Guzalia. You do talk a lot. That's how hypnosis works.
Right.
I talk and you listen.
That's why I could never be a psychologist, because I don't want to listen to the whole story.
Well, that's another problem I have sometimes. People come into the office and sometimes they expect, I think, the same as they would have a session with a psychologist, and they start sharing the problems. And if you don't stop them on time, they can go on and go on and go on. But then we cannot do our job.
Exactly. I remember it's funny. I was working with somebody a few weeks ago who's studying for some exams, and we get on the call, and it was just, 10 minutes, just talk about all the problems he's had, but I finally had to go, whoa, I don't need to know all that. We're not going to worry about the past. We're going to start today and move forward. So save your breath. You don't have to tell your story anymore.
Yeah, we don't need the details. That's the beauty of hypnosis. We can generalize where you are right now and where you want to go. This is all we need to know. We don't need the entire life story. It's not really helpful.
No, it's not. And
in fact, if you say too much, we may have to decline for legal, reasons.
Right.
We may have to send you back to your doctor.
Go see a counselor. Go tell them. And then when you're done getting it off your chest, come see us to fix it. I think it's important that, if you go through trauma or something, sure, you absolutely should tell that story once or twice. But my goodness, if you're telling that story every week for years, you're just marinating
yourself. You're just marinating in that problem.
Well, I wanted to mention something too, because I know that you studied with Jason Linett, and one of the things that helped in my practice is I listened to some of Jason's work. One of the things that he said was to set up the expectation, tell people what to expect, and so now I let them know. I said, some people, they zone out completely. They don't hear a word I say. And some people, they just sit there, they lay there, and they hear everything I say. They could recite it back to me. Some people go in and out. They zone in, they zone out. Everybody has a different experience. And since I started doing that, I've had way less people going, that wasn't what I expected. So that really helped a lot.
Yeah, that's part of educating client before starting to work. Setting right expectation is important.
Yeah.
Probably 50% of success is there.
Absolutely.
All right, Jim, where our smokers can find you? And not only smokers. I know Jim works on many different issues. Hypnosis is pretty universal tool, so whatever problem you have, we can address it. So you're in Washington State, in Seattle, but you can see person from everywhere in the world as long as they speak English?
Yes,
English
exactly.
Okay.
Only English for me. Poquito español, but not much. Not enough. Yeah, so you can reach me at my website. That's probably the easiest, jimkellnerhypnotist.com. Jim
Will
Kellner
be
Hypnotist.
below. The link will be below.
Check it out. I've got an online calendar. You can schedule a consultation. Like Guzalia said, hypnosis is so universal. People will all the time will ask us, "Hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that?" You know, unless you want to grow like an extra toe or something, we can probably help you. Whatever it is, anything that you can think about, behavior-wise, habits, hypnosis can address it.
And if you are interested in the other side of hypnosis, stage hypnosis, I will put Jim's link to his YouTube down below.
Cool.
You can go and check him out.
Awesome.
Fun. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for joining me again.
Thank you. It's great talking to you again, Guzalia.